Hi everyone, welcome to Legal Connect. Welcome to this space. Welcome to the space where we discuss legal issues affecting Nigerians and Nigeria as a whole. Happy Independence Day celebration in inverted commas. I know it's been a while since I posted on this space. It's been quite a busy September, and I'm happy that September is now behind us. This is October, the 1st of October 2023, and this today supposedly is a celebration of so-called Independence Day. And I decided that I have to, in irrespective of how busy I am now, that I must post something today, being 1st of October, because everyone is celebrating this 63rd Independence Day celebration of this country, Nigeria. And I wanted to give people the opportunity to reflect and say, what are we actually celebrating as independence? So today we are going to be pretty much talking about the independence, so-called Independence Day, by reflecting on the country called Nigeria. It's going to take a different perspective from the original presentation I normally do here, looking at legal provisions and analyzing that against factual scenarios. But today I'm actually going to look at what is independence. What are we celebrating as being Independence Day? Is it celebrating independence as a result of no longer being governed by a white skin, now being governed by black skin? Because the definition independent is actually being free. Are we actually free in terms of being Nigerians, or are we just celebrating independence from being governed by a white skin? Are we celebrating Independence Day as a result of not being governed by white skin, not being governed by black skin? Are we actually independent? Those are questions that we need to ask ourselves as we reflect on the 63rd Independence Day celebration of this country, Nigeria. So before I dive into what we're going to talk about today, or before I dive into the main discussion today, I just want to apologize to my people on this space for the inabsence that has been going on this space. It is not deliberate. However, it has been a very, very busy September on my part, and hence I couldn't put anything out there for people to listen to. However, I would like to say that those that are yet to be part of this space, those that are unsubscribed yet, should hit that subscribe button. Those that have subscribed that haven't hit that notification bell, hit the notification bell so that you get notifications when new materials are posted on this space. So let us dive into the nitty-gritty of today's presentation, and you acknowledge that the heading is quite unusual because I want us to actually reflect. Is it high time we continue celebrating independence? Because are we actually independent? Nigeria became an independent country in 1960, even before I was born, and became a republic in 1963. Those are what we were taught at school back then. And what are we celebrating as being independent? Is being independence in its definition as it is celebrated today is the fact that the British stopped being our colonial masters. The British stopped being governors of this country and left the country to be governed by Nigerians. But then, if you look at the definition of independence, the word independence means free from being governed or ruled by another country. So if we apply this definition to the state of Nigeria today, are we actually free from being governed or ruled by another country? I will leave you to reflect on that question and put your comments down below. Are we actually free from being governed by another country? Let's start from the very top. The current president of this country is Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Bola Ahmed Tinubu got into power, or got elected as president, not into power, got elected as president because he claimed to have graduated from a university in the United States of America. And it is surprising and baffling that a candidate produced a certificate from a foreign institution, and the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, failed in its duty to check the authenticity of that certificate. And now it is a litigation, the basis of litigation at the Electoral Tribunal and appeal to the Supreme Court, that the document tendered by the current president is fake. Also, during the so-called election, Nigerian aspirants or presidential aspirants were given talk in foreign lands. Example is the presentation at Chatham House. The election took place in Nigeria. The electorate are based in Nigeria, but the candidate felt obliged to go to London to try and solicit or advocate for support in a foreign country. You might say that they were trying to appease the Nigerians in diaspora. But the problem with that is that the Nigerians in diaspora are prevented from voting in such election. So what's the need of going diaspora to go and canvass for vote? I've never seen a US presidential aspirant or even senatorial aspirant coming to Africa to canvass for vote. Does that mean that we don't have Americans in Africa? I haven't seen a British member of parliament coming to Africa to canvass for vote. Does that mean that the British citizens they are not based in Africa, and we say we are independent? And then you ask yourself, are the people actually independent? The country Nigeria may be independent, but are the people Nigerians, are they independent? Are they independent? Let me give you some instances. The agencies of government, do they treat Nigerians as being independent in their own country? We have the agency like the Nigerian police. Does the Nigerian police treat its citizens as being in a free country? They protect the rich and the politicians, and then they abandon the less privileged for the grace of God to watch over them. The Nigerian police brutalizes, they oppress, and they kill Nigerians willy-nilly. These are people that are supposed to be independent in their country. couple of days ago, I was watching the news and they were talking about Tupac Shakur. Tupac died 27 years ago. I still remember vividly the Saturday morning when I woke up and heard the news. I was very, very touched because Tupac, I would say, is my idol. In my teen years then, rapping and Tupac music. Now I know that the lyrics is, I won't allow my children to sing the lyrics, but I used to sing the lyrics then. And I loved the guy because of his charisma. The guy was murdered. 27 years. And the New York police just announced that they have indicted a Dwayne Davis. This is an investigation that took 27 years. Even though they had majority of the facts, but that key evidence linking Mr. Davis to the shooting was lacking. Dwayne Davis has always admitted that he was in the vehicle that the shot that killed Tupac came from. But he was sat at the front passenger seat and the shot came from behind, which is the passengers at the back. But because of the Brotherhood Code, he refused to name those that were sat at the back. And the police did not arrest him for being in the vehicle. There was no charges because he's not the one that shot Tupac or fired the weapons. But 27 years they investigated this matter, and few days ago they indicted Dwayne Davis. The reason why I'm saying this, I'm comparing it to the Nigerian police. Look at extrajudicial killings that have happened in this country. Consider people being murdered on a daily basis. And the Nigerian police is one of those things. No investigation, nothing. That is just an arm of the Nigerian government agency. We're talking about people being independent in their country. And then let's go to companies. You have the banks there. The banks have become a hub of fraudsters. Fraudsters having legitimate bank accounts and defrauding people, even staffs of banks, gatesmen, cashiers, managers, you name them, defrauding Nigerians that are supposed to be independent in their country. What is so independent about Nigeria that we should be celebrating? I will play the devil's advocate that the days of the British being the colonial masters of Nigeria, according to research that I've carried out, was much more lively, was much more enjoyable compared to we are now saying that we are independent and we are governing ourselves. People might have a different opinion, but this is my opinion. People might feel that during the era before 1960, life was much more harder compared to now. But I wasn't around then. But what I've seen, there are still buildings, there are still structures that the British constructed in Nigeria that have stood the test of time compared to things that have been constructed since after 1960. So I will, be that school of thought that says that we've not really had any independence. Rather, we've moved from being independent to being in bondage. Okay, let's go back to the bank. People put money in banks and they are stolen. the bank will tell you, go and get police reports. The banks are supposed to investigate allegations of fraud. They put the onus, they put the burden on you, the customer, to prove your case. CBN supposed to be regulators of bank. I will argue that CBN is the wrong agency to regulate the bank, because CBN is conflicted. CBN cannot be independent in its duty to regulate the banks. CBN will not allow the banks to fail, because it will be detrimental to the CBN policy. The CBN would rather protect the banks than protect their customers. So why is CBN appointed as being the regulators of the banks? The only industry that I've seen that is actually working in this country is the telecoms industry, because the telecom industry is not monopolized as opposed to other industry. We take, for instance, Dangote company. Dangote company is involved in every productions apart from telecom. Cements are produced in Nigeria, but it costs more in Nigeria than so-called, let's say, the neighboring country, Niger, or other countries. It's only in Nigeria that you import rice. Imported rice is cheaper than rice produced in Nigeria. And we are saying that we should stop importation when the local produce are more expensive than the product being shipped into the country. I went to the US a few years ago, and products that are imported from foreign products are more expensive than products that are produced locally in the US. So you are forced to consume local products. But Nigeria, you cannot even afford the local products. So you are forced to look for the foreign products to consume. And we're saying that we want a good economy. The Nigerian Labour Congress are threatening the government to go on strike because of the subsidy, the subsidy removal, the subsidy non-removal. But there are other things that are affecting the employment industry than this so-called fuel subsidy removal. The Nigerian Labour Congress only advocate things that affect its interests. You look at pensioners. They retire and they chase their pension until their death. And some of them don't even get the pension. The Labour Congress doesn't strike because of that. The Naira coloration that brought abject poverty upon Nigerians. I never read or heard that the Nigerian Labour Congress threatened to strike. But now, fuel subsidy, because it's affected them, they are threatening the federal government. They want to strike. So let's reflect, because what we're talking about is, are we actually independent? Or have we just swapped a white-skinned government for a black-skinned government? Are we saying our life, quality of life, is far much better after 1960 compared to before 1960? Please leave your comments. I would like to hear from people that actually experienced the colonial times, that's before 1960, and lecture us or inform us, we that didn't have that experience, of what life was then compared to now. Are we actually independent? Should we stop celebrating this independence until we are actually independent? Because for me, we are not independent. I cannot be independent in a country where there is nothing working. I cannot be independent in a country where life expectancy is 0? Are we independent? Or is it just independent by name? Let's reflect on this. And as I say, and please leave your comment. I would like to hear from as many people out there in relation to this topic, independence. What does independence mean to you? A country that is independent where the citizens are exploited in every walks of life, in every sector. There is exploitation. People are ready to kill just because of the legal tender. That when we die today, we don't even take a penny with us. A country that is independent where the Senate president are sending prayers to the people's inbox. A country where we are independent, criminals are celebrated and not scholars are laughed at, are mocked because they don't have the financial power to challenge politicians. A country where there's supposed to be a division of power, but they are all the same. A country where we have political parties, but they are not. There is no difference. Look at the federal territory. The minister of the federal capital territory. He's a PDP member, but he's working with APC. Why don't you resign your position as a PDP member and become an APC member? The work of opposition is to scrutinize and hold them accountable. But when you are now working with them, what is the difference? It is blur. A country where people are not loyal to their party, but they are loyal to their own pocket. When it is not working for this party, they jump and move to the next party. So they are not actually inclined, they are not actually devoted to the policy of that party. Rather, they are devoted to, I want to be in power. In power to do what? To make money. People will prefer to bury money in warehouses or in graves than to have it distributed for everyone to enjoy. The question is, what does independence mean to you? This is all I wanted to talk about today. I want you to please leave a comment. Tell us what the experience was under the colonial masters or under the British rule, and compare it to post 1960 if we are actually independent. Please hit that like button, hit the notification bell, and above all, subscribe to this space. Until I come back to you very, very soon with another topic. It is your one and only anonymous lawyer, coming to you on this day, 1st October, which is purported with inverted commas, Independence Day. This is the 63rd Independence Day since Nigeria gained its so-called independence. Is Nigeria actually independent? Take care now. Bye-bye.